Brother Nashi, how are you? Yom, I saw a Tokoloshe that belonged to my Mozambican boss. I will never forget, even if someone say that you are lying, a Tokoloshe does not exist. But I saw a Tokoloshe with my own eyes. This Tokoloshe, it even wanted to beat me up. After I had seen that Tokoloshe, I spent so many years even acting like I am someone that is now running mad. I had to be assisted by several sangomas that would cleanse me because I had seen things that a normal human being is supposed to see. I wonder, these people that keep these tokoloshis, how do they survive? Because a tokoloshi, it is something that is not normal. The thing that I saw, it was so scary, Joe. I will never, never forget the thing that I saw to this very day. And my boss, when I saw him, he had been beaten up by his Tokoloshim because I had broken the rule of his rituals without me even realizing that I had messed up things for my own boss. Let me take you back in the past. Brother Nashim, I was working for a company, but the challenge that was there in that company was that our boss, he only loved foreign workers. I am a South African, by the way, and my name, you will call me Tabo. For years, I was working at that company, but he was giving me local routes, the ones that you could only drive maybe for only 70 kilometers, and you can't make money when you are driving those kilometers on a truck. And you would try to make as many trips as you could on a day, but then it will take very long time for you to load, to offload. So I was driving a Code 14, but at the same time, I was making a salary that a Code 14 driver is not even supposed to make. It was just worthless and hopeless. So the other routes that were making a lot of money, these were routes that were being given to his brothers that were from Mozambique. He gave his Mozambican brothers, the foreigners, the routes that you would get up to 30K per month, your salary. So because of that, I started feeling bitter. And when you are in the company, you are the only South African, you are not getting the route that you want. When you speak with your other brothers who are also working in that company, they do not want to speak with the boss because they are already eating with the boss. So I felt bitter. That was when I decided to take action. I was already in a group. This was a group that had been formed by other guys that were truck drivers that were in Dudula. So then I told them about my boss and I said, look, my boss, this is the challenge that I am having with him. He has hired only Mozambican guys. I am the only South African and this is my pay slip. So the other drivers in the group, they got angry and they said that we were supposed to organize and they would come to my company. So then they came to my boss's company. When they came, then they spoke with my boss and they said, if you do not employ South Africans only, then we are going to ban the trucks. So my boss, he was fearful of his trucks getting banned. He then said, already I have one guy that is South African, but he did not know that it was I that had called those guys to come and to harass him because I was tired of him just giving me money and I was struggling. The money that he was giving me, it was not even buying anything nice for me. So then when he said that he was going to hire only South Africans, and then he said, since you have been working for me for a very long time, I want you to put you on a route where you would be doing cross-border. I said, finally, I'll be getting at least 32K. So I got on the route to go to Mozambique. So the guys that I was working with, they were working without proper permits and then they were fired. All of those guys that were from Mozambique, they were fired. So my boss, he even explained to the guys that I came with and he told them that you want me to fire these people, but they are the ones that know the route to go to Mozambique. And if I do this, my business is going to go bad. But those guys, they did not want to listen to anything. So himself being a Mozambican, he was married to a South African woman. By then, I think he had already stayed in our country for more than 20 years. So he said, okay, so Tabo, right now you are going to be controlling some of the routes, because I used to go there as a secondary driver to Mozambique. So I knew the places where we deliver, where our trucks were delivering in Mozambique. And he said, now you'll be going to Maputo. And he was like, you're going to Maputo tomorrow. So there was a girl that I was supposed to see. Me and this girl, we had recently started dating. And then she had promised that she was going to give it to me. And when a woman says, I'm going to give you like what you want, and then you tell her that, no, I can't come because I'm supposed to go to Maputo. Oh, I said, let me go and see this girl. So I went and I saw the girl. Then after that, then I went and I got onto the truck. On my way, I went to Mozambique. So when I set off for Maputo, you were not supposed to drive. In our company, you do not drive at night. You are only supposed to drive only during the day. That is the rule in our company ever since I had started working for my boss. So because I had wasted so much time, because I was supposed to start driving early in the morning around 5 p.m. when the sun has come out, but because I wanted to see my girlfriend and I went there, I spent the entire day with her, and around 4, that was when I went to the yard to collect the truck. So as I was driving, I said, I need to drive throughout the night so that at least I can hit my targets. And it was against company policy. So I was also feeling my head was spinning and I was feeling dizzy and I did not understand what was happening to me. So then I drove and rest. So by 10 p.m. I was driving, and we were not allowed to drive after the sun would have gone down. Since I had been a local driver, I used to drive only during the day. Then by 5 p.m. already I am at the yard or I am sleeping at the loading bay. So I never drove at night. So I always followed the company policy. When I woke up again to drive, Bronash, that was when I felt something that was walking in the cabin of the truck. Like there was someone that was walking up and down. And I said, what is going on here? Maybe I am having hallucinations because I had drank a lot of grandpa. So I said, maybe it is the grandpa that is now confusing me. Then I decided to park the truck. When I parked the truck at a lay-by, and then that was when I saw something that I had never seen in my entire life. Brother Nashi, I saw that in the truck there was a Tokoloshe that was sitting where I was supposed to be sitting, and I was the passenger. Now, how it had happened, I do not know. The last thing that I remember was that I was sitting by the driver's seat and I had safely parked the truck and I was resting, wondering why was it that I was having all of this dizzy feeling, what was going on with me. So I found myself, I was sitting on the passenger side, and then there was a big baboon that was sitting on the driver's seat. I screamed, Brother Nashi, I screamed and I started calling the name of my father who is late. I called for my ancestors to come and rescue me. If the dashboard could open up, I think that I could have vanished into the dashboard. I tried to open the doors, they were locked. And then that was when that baboon looked at me, and then it just jumped out of the truck and I saw it running into the bushes. You know what happened soon after that? It is something that I will never forget. 5 minutes later, that was when my phone rang. By then, I was shaking. I was scared like I had never been afraid in my entire life. Even when the phone rang, I nearly jumped out of the windscreen because of the way that I was so scared. I had even forgotten that I had a phone. I had even forgotten the ringing tone of that phone. So I nearly jumped out of the truck because of the sound of my phone as it was ringing. I eventually came back to my senses and saw that it was my boss that was calling me. I then picked up the phone. What he said to me, it was so much unlike of him. He was someone that spoke to you at all the times in a nice way, but on that day, it was as if I had stolen his truck. I had done something that was really bad. Ronash, you know what he said. My boss did not even ask me where I was. He did not even ask me if I was okay, even though I had told him that I was feeling dizzy and I had a terrible headache. And he had told me that the next day, when I wake up to drive, I was supposed to call him before I start the truck so that he can pray for me and I can have a nice journey. So he was screaming on the phone. What he said to me, I'll never forget. He said, "Park my effing truck and leave it there. Who gave you permission to drive at night? Who told you to drive at night? Park my truck." He drove 100 kilometers from Joburg to meet me on that road on that very same night. When he arrived, from the way that he had been screaming at me, I thought that, hey, this guy is going to shoot me, because I knew that he used to love to threaten people with guns, because he was also involved in taxi stuff, taxis going to Mozambique. So you know how taxi people are like. When he came, he was different, but his face was swollen as if he had been beaten up, like he had been involved in a fight. Instead of me, like, feeling afraid, I saw that the situation was not even tense as it had been on the phone. He was actually joking with me and he said, "Hi man, Tao. Hi man, don't mess up my things." And by then he was just punching me lightly, not like punching, but he was playing with me, saying, "Hi man, Tao, you are messing up my things. Why are you driving at night? Hey, who did you see? Did you see my uncle? You will kill me. You're not supposed to see my uncle. Did you see someone in the truck? You need to park the truck at night." So then that was when he took out a bottle of water. I don't know if it was your prepared mineral water or if it was your ritual water. He then started spraying the inside of the truck, making it wet and messy, the seats, the tires. He was talking to someone that I do not know. He was talking to his ancestors, apologizing to something that I could not see. Himself could see it. And he did not fire me, but he said that, "I can't let you drive this truck right now. No, I can't." And he had already gotten a driver who was a Mozambican man. So this Mozambican man, he took the truck from me. He was also given an instruction not to move the truck even 1 centimeter. So that Mozambican guy was the one that we left. We left him in the truck, and I got into the vehicle that the boss had brought with him from Joburg. We drove from the place where I was parked back to Joburg. He never said a single word. His wife was with him and she seemed so mad at me. She was angry. And I just thought that maybe she is angry that they had to drive so late at night for nearly 200 and something kilometers. They dropped me off at my place. I worked for him for a couple of months, but I started to get so sick. My legs will get swollen. And when I was on and off at my place, I would be okay. The moment that I would get into his truck, afraid, I will get so sick. My legs will get so swollen, so much that I can't even explain. That was when one day I got a job. One of my friends just called me. I just abandoned his truck and I said, "This guy with these Tokoloshes, let me just leave him." And I left him. And then I started working for the company that I am working for right now. So this is what I experienced when I saw a Tokoloshe. It does not matter even if someone says that you are lying, you never saw any Tokoloshe, but I know what I saw with my own eyes. I saw a baboon that was holding the steering wheel. This baboon was holding the steering wheel of the truck that I had recently parked, and it had placed me into the passenger seat. How it had managed to do something like that, I really have no idea, and I do not even know. If I had a Sangoma that I know, that Sangoma, I would go to him and the Sangoma would tell me if the Tokoloshe that I saw was the one that started messing up with my legs being swollen. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear brother. Apologies for the background noise. I am the one that is babysitting. Apologies for the background noise. Let us meet again in the following episode.